Want to grow your business and take it to the next level? Well, here we all are, and we're going to show you how through hard work, perseverance, and a little help and know-how, you can take things to the next level and push the success of your business even further. Let's get going.
Welcome everyone, your next episode on the Practiceology Podcast. We're teaching you the science of running a highly profitable allied health business that works without you. And I've hit up my great mate Kieran Richardson again to join us. Kieran, thanks for joining us on the podcast.
It's good to be speaking with you again today, Paul.
We've done a whole 1 hour Profit Club before, and now we've drilled it down into 7 minutes. So we'll see how this goes. Kieran's background, he is a specialist physiotherapist and the director of Global Specialist Physiotherapy, a consultancy company offering ongoing formal mentoring, professional development, and second opinions. He's highly sought after for evidence-based treatment planning, online courses, workshops, and online live trainings and tutorials via Zoom. So Kieran, mate, thanks for joining us. Are you right to go? I'll get my little timer ready. You look ready. You look ready.
I was born ready.
All right. I'm ready. You got the little one in the hidden asleep somewhere, so we'll see if we get this done.
You may hear a baby crying in the background, so we'll see how we go.
Let's have a crack. Kieran Richardson, who is your ideal client?
So, Paul, my ideal client, I guess, is a clinic owner who's struggling to see high quality treatment plans delivered consistently, and whether that be either personally themselves or by their staff or therapists, despite having had great business coaching. So as someone who delves into research every day, I like to bring that kind of clinical angle to complement the business coaching. And I find that can often get a lot of clinic owners and their staff over the line with plans.
So question 2, so the problem you solve relates very heavily into treatment plans. So the problem you solve is exactly what?
So really, I love to empower clinic owners and their employees with the latest evidence and clinical strategies to help make, I guess, individualized plans to every patient to ensure that they're seen more frequently initially and not discharged too soon, which is, I guess, the big issues that I tend to see in clinical practice.
So is the typical problem, Kieran, no plan or a crappy plan? It's a bit of both.
It's a bit of both.
Right.
Yeah. So I would see that there's some clinics where there's essentially no systems for a plan at all. So that they've never been trained in how to give a plan. And that's there. But it can also be that the way the plans are delivered are not specific or structured. And so it's pretty common for us to see, clients or clinic owners with therapists who have empty diaries, and they may be seeing lots of new patients as well. And the clinic owner's spoken to the staff, and it seems like they feel like they're repeating the same messages over and over. So sometimes I think as an outsider looking in, and you do this all the time, where you can kind of have this bird's eye view of the situation, and these words of death, as we've spoken about before, this kind of, let us know when you want us to book you in again, this kind of thing. Just that sort of stuff just kills patient outcomes as well as business KPIs.
So question 3, with 4 minutes and 41 seconds left, the typical symptoms people experience with bad treatment plans. What do the clinic owners have? What's the symptoms?
Well, as I was just saying, it might be that the symptoms would be that the clients are literally feeding back that they didn't touch me. The physios didn't touch me. They just wanted to send me on my way and ask me to see how I was going. And there was no follow-up. There was no structure involved to the session. And from a clinic owner point of view, they'll look at the therapist diary, and that despite having multiple new patients, even in a single day, the rest of the week will still be quiet because there's no kind of system of when to reschedule or book them again.
What do we call it? The list killer.
The list killer.
Question 4 with 3 minutes and 47 seconds left. What are the common mistakes that health business owners make when they're trying to solve the treatment plan problem? What do they do wrong?
Look, in my experience, there's often just no system at all. So there's, as we were saying, there's no kind of idea that a system of delivering treatment plans exists. There's nothing physical on paper, which I know we've spoken about, and I love, giving the patient something physical to take home. And there's kind of no requirement for the therapist to give it to the patient. And there's also, as I see it, there's no confidence because the physios don't understand or even know the evidence to give it. So it just kind of is this ad hoc thing where the physios may, or the allied health professional may or may not decide to give the plan, which is wrong. And sometimes I think it can, as someone who's very bound by science and evidence, I think it can come across as a little bit businessy, which is absolutely not what it should be. It should be just clinical and research and presenting to the patient what's best for them, how long we should see them, and why. So I don't think it has to be this sales technique. It's something that is best care for patients.
I love it. Question 5 with 2 minutes, 20 seconds left. What's one valuable free action, Kieran, that our podcast listeners can implement to help solve their action plan problem? What can the owners do to fix it?
Yeah. So look, I would make sure that whatever field you're in allied health, that every single patient you see leaves with these 3 elements covered: what's wrong, what the diagnosis is, what the patient and the clinician need to do, so a dosage or frequency of consultations, and then how long is it going to take. So at least a ballpark prognosis. What's wrong? What are we going to do? How long is it going to take? And then to really know, you can check in with the patient after you've communicated it to them and get them to repeat it back, the plan back to you. And then you can really know if you've nailed it in a way that they understand.
It's simple, isn't it? Well, we should all be doing this. Question 6 with 1.5 minutes left. What's a valuable free resource, Kieran, you can send our listeners to and viewers to help them on their journey for plans? What have you got? 'Cause you've got some great stuff. Where can they go? So
the clinic owners can download a free treatment plan example on my website, which is on globalspecialistphysio.com/treatment plan. And there's also an introduction to my online course. And I'm happy for them to reach out personally via the website there as well.
Can you give us that URL again? Where that, because you should get this, guys, the free action plan. Where do they go again?
Yeah. It's globalspecialistphysio.com/treatment plan.
Beautiful. And you've got about 40 seconds left, but I'm gonna ask this question. The one question I should have asked you, and I'll ask it myself, you won't even have to make it up. There's a concern from therapists that they can't be exact about how many treatments, or they don't exactly know what's wrong. Yeah. How do they solve that when they do their plan? And I'm going to pause that because I don't care if we go a bit longer. How do they solve that? Because they're worried about making a diagnosis or a plan that might have to change.
Definitely. Yeah. And this is something that we hear all the time. And so I would at least try and forecast the next 2 weeks for the patient. And so you could say something along these lines. Look, I'm not sure where you're going to be in 3 months' time, but I'll have a better idea if we do a couple of weeks of intense treatment. So a phrase like that can be if you're very unsure, especially for a new or recent graduate, that would be the sort of phrase that I would say. And it gives you that window of opportunity to do, twice a week for 2 weeks or whatever you need to do to calm the symptoms down. I find that patients love that if you're unsure. But you want to try and give them that ballpark figure, as I was saying.
What I love about your stuff, Kieran, you were the scientific bridge to what I was doing, because I've been pushing them for years to get their words right, action plans and other things. And I really needed someone like you to bring the science to it and say, this is scientifically justified. You need to do this. I love what that did for us, mate. You've been a revelation for me.
Look, and I love it. And I think, I love your stuff. And I think it's the black and white nature of it is what patients love. They want something that's clear and concise. So I think it's great.
You are a champion. Get that report, guys. Get the sample of Kieran's report. Follow what he's doing, because he's putting some scientific stuff to this. And I know we're out of time, but I want to hit you. You're doing some interesting stuff too on non-operative ACLs. And I just want to throw that at you there for a second.
Yeah.
There's some cool stuff happening in that. Aren't you upset in the orthopods? How good's that?
No, they're my friends. We're a team. We're a team. So there's a few in Perth that will refer to me now because they believe as well. And so I guess my key message with that, and like we should and I think it's so great for allied health in general, is that we should always investigate and maximize the least invasive things first. And so, at least for 3 months, and I think the same applies for ACL, like we would any other condition, at least at the first instance. So yeah, it's been pretty fun.
There's the 7-minute Practiceology podcast just went a bit longer. Kieran, thanks for joining us, mate. I love what you're doing, guys. Get onto the action plan, train, find out what Kieran's doing. He's worth following. Good. Thanks for joining us, Kieran.
Thanks, mate. Cheers.
Now, if you haven't registered for the monthly Practiceology webinar, go to mypracticeology.com, register for that, and make sure you download Kieran's resource. See you soon.